right, well, welcome back. We've got another exciting matchup. This time, though, it's the Longhorn Gaming Boys versus the University of New Mexico Esports roster. It's a top cut matchup. Top 3 seeds out of their pool inside of the West. It means that they're going to be playing for qualification into playoffs automatically, and of course, trying to avoid the last chance qualifier that is going to be the top, however many teams are going to be in the LCQ and whatnot. So, overall, this is an important matchup, at least right now. It's not going to seem like it's the biggest of deals. However, this could be one of those matches like we saw in Stage 1 that paints a picture of where we'll be later down the line in terms of potential head-to-heads, of course, when we're talking about actually qualifying for playoffs and what your seeding will be if you do go ahead and find yourselves in that qualification spot.
Yeah, and it's so straightforward. I mean, you look at traditional sports, esports, whatever you're looking at, as the season goes on, even though you may look at each individual map like, oh, this matchup's nothing too crazy, every map and series that you play going forward, they're all going to be more and more important. Like you said, you're either playing for guaranteed top 8 in playoff, like your top 8 to get to playoffs, or bottom 4 are going to have to play in losers or last chance qualifier. So every match is important. You want to be the one that wins every map you play, and you have to kick things off here. There's a first week for everything, and you want to start off hot and give yourself the best advantage that you can. So that's what we're looking at here tonight. But I'm excited to get this one. Like you said, once you start to get into the top cut and big playoff implications here, it gets real exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the University of New Mexico's roster overall. Coming into this game, this team has been... Okay, never mind. We're not going to take a look at the rosters. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to go to maps. That's what we're going to do. As you probably know, we have voices floating around in our ears telling us what is good and what is not good. Either way, what is good and what the word is for map number 1. We'll see a Tuscan hardpoint to start things off. Desert Siege on an S&D. Control will be back on Tuscan again. Then Berlin and Bocage to round things out for maps number 4 and 5. Overall, this is the first time in quite some time that I've seen a map set that doesn't include a double dosage of a map. So that excites me because we get to see tons of maps, unless this goes to a third map, and well, it's like, okay, that's cool, man. Someone's going to 3-0 here, aren't they?
Right.
That's just going to happen. Someone's going to 3-0.
You said it, you cursed it. We'll be out of here in 45. But, yeah, I definitely agree. Looking at this, not seeing a double dose, though we even didn't get to it last series. It was Bocage in games 4 and 5. And now looking at this, interesting map set. We do get Tuscan twice at least. We're going to see that in Control, which would be a bit refreshing to see versus Gabba2. And we'll obviously be guaranteed that one. So really excited for how the series is looking.
Well, as Paige, she said she has it. I don't know what it means, but you can show me it on the screen whenever you so please. I believe we're going to be seeing her head-to-head, though, overall. New Mexico comes in at 9-4. Longhorn Gaming, 8-3 from the last split. Overall, 12-6 instead of the hard points, 10-3 in the S&D. Control a 5-4 advantage there for the side of University of New Mexico. However, for Longhorns Gaming, it's a bit of a different story. 11-6 in the hard points, 7-4 in the S&D, but better in control overall comparatively to New Mexico. So, what does that kind of spell out, and what does this picture paint here for us, Cash, as we look ahead to the series?
To me, what immediately jumps out is you want to look at the control and say that does, but for me, it's can New Mexico extend this series? You're 10-3 in Search and Destroy. Yeah, you're fairly evenly matched in the hard point, and then you kind of have a couple more losses in the control. So, looking at the Search and Destroy, 1, you've got to go and win game number 2. You've got to find a way to pull off of a respawn and send this to a game number 5. Of course, the hard point looks to be coin toss on paper. We'll see who comes out to play tonight, but for me, it's going to be New Mexico. If they look to extend the series, I think they're going to find more success if they're willing to push it and able to push it to a game 5 if need be.
Overall, looks like it'll be a fun one, specifically when it comes down to the hard points, as kind of Cash was alluding to beforehand. That's kind of my, at least the swing, in my opinion, to start things off. But we'll take a look at the rosters. Maddie Dahmer, Solar, and Roque. For the Lobos, overall, this is a team that comes into this match, again, with that 9-4 record. Overall, it's a team that not only can make it outside of their top cut and automatically qualify into playoffs, but I think we haven't seen the full potential from this roster just yet. I think as the season has progressed thus far, over the course of stage 1. It was a lot of fun seeing this team develop overall, but I think their final form will truly start to mold over the course of stage 2. And once we get closer to playoffs, even if this isn't a team that qualifies directly into the playoffs, I think if they go to a last chance qualifier, there's really not a team, at least in my mind, that automatically is just going to be able to put them down. And if you are a Lobos fan, I think you have a lot to be confident about going into the later portions of the season, because this team has shown a lot of grit, but more importantly, a lot of subtle improvements in a short amount of time that I think are going to shock a lot of people come later on in the season.
You want to be a team that's getting better at the end of the season and not start off hot and trail off. And like you alluded to, that's what the squad's looking at. Once they look to piece everything together and all of the improvements they've been making, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. As you said, I can't say it much better than that. You want to be a team that's piecing everything together when it's crunch time and when it's important. And this is a squad I'm going to be looking at, especially in that top cut, to try and make a run and really get to that top 8. But like you said, even if they don't make it in there, they're going to be gunning for a spot to get back in.
Well, we saw New Mexico's roster. We'll go ahead and take a look at the Longhorn Gaming roster on the opposite side of things. Another 4-man team that comes in with a lot to prove. Saucy, Velocity, Menace, and Mickey. Overall, again, both of these teams are going to be relatively even when it comes to matching up against one another. That's basically what all the matches are going to be looking like as we go in and find ourselves throughout the entirety of this top cut. Obviously, back in stage 1, as we mentioned beforehand, we were always talking about who's going to be the top 3 teams in their divisions, who's going to be the top 3 teams in their pools. This is the reason why. It's because when we get to this conversation, now it's, okay, we're talking about playoff formatting later on inside of the season. What is that going to allow for us? Well, the playoff bracket's regionally based, so it's basically going to be East versus West. Basically, the region of West and Midwest, that they're going to be paired up together in the same bracket, and then for Southeast and Northeast, they're going to be paired up together as well. 8 teams will auto-qualify from the Tier 1 group, so for Longhorn Gaming in New Mexico, both of these teams are in that Tier 1 group, so automatically, you know, 8 of the teams inside of their division will qualify. The top or the lower 4 will go to the qualification bracket for the last chance qualifier, and then of course they'll be playing against Tier 2 and 3 teams, and then the top 4 Tier 4 teams inside of the last chance qualifier. So either way, they should have a surefire shot at getting into the playoffs. Overall, though, we'll just have to wait and see as we kind of go forward.
We will have to wait and see. You don't want to be one of these top Tier 1 squads that end up having to play through the last chance qualifiers. You want to punch your ticket as early as you can. And again, when you look at these teams, why do we hype it up so much? Because there's just so much importance on it. You want to be a top 8 team securing your spot going into this. And starting off with a win here tonight for either of these squads sets themselves up in prime position to go forth and do that. So like you said, both rosters with a ton to prove here tonight and show that, hey, we're piecing things together. It's starting to get to that, kind of shifting that mindset to the second half of the season. I know we're only stage 2, but as you have your eyes forward towards playoffs, got to start piecing things together. And it's interesting to see with the teams being pitted against each other based on skill. It's top teams against top teams through and through. I'm interested to see who's gonna maybe take it and stand out amongst the top teams. You're not standing out against, you know, teams that are finishing 1-13. You're standing out against teams that finished somewhat undefeated in their pools, some teams. So if a team can stand out, I think that's going to be all the more impressive to me. And again, looking at these 2 squads, either have that capability, and it's really early on given that it's the first night, but I'm interested to see if any team takes this competition, takes this kind of head-to-head battles and just runs with it.
Based upon records, this hard point, at least for map number 1, should be at least considerably a toss-up overall between both of these teams. I think, at least when we talk keys to victory, you could easily point to either one of these teams to say, hey, take hard point in map number 1, because there's a clear kind of a diversion when we get into the next couple of modes specifically. For Search and Destroy, you know, New Mexico has looked really good in Search and Destroy, but on the opposite side, Longhorn Gaming have looked extremely good in Control in comparison to New Mexico. So very easily, when we go into like the mid portion of the series, we could be looking at, you know, either a tied 1-1 series going into map number 3, or you know, potentially an availability to close things out. So when you start off on map number 1 in a hard point, both of these teams have to capitalize upon this. You have to view this as a very important map win for yourselves, especially if you want to be able to win this series in any sort of fashion close to a 3-0. Because I just don't see either one of these teams being able to go out unscathed within the first 3 maps.
Definitely, and I'll even go out on a limb here and say that if New Mexico, if they're able to win the first 2 maps of the series, whether it's in the 3-0 fashion or Game 5, I think they take the series. They need to win a respawn, take it off of Longhorn Gaming. That's something where, again, like the first hard point could be coin tossy, but that control kind of leaning towards Longhorn Gaming. If they can come out win this first map and do their job in the S&D, I don't think they care if it goes to Game 5, because again, I think they're sitting much better. So I think if New Mexico, if they're able to come out, take the first 2 maps, I think they win the series, whether it's in 3-0 or 3-2.
First team over towards point 1 is going to be Longhorn Gaming. Saucy's going to pick up the first 2 kills here inside of Tuscan. Miggy will pair along the way, so 2 double kills for the side of Longhorn Gaming will open things up. A 4 down feed and a 4-1 trade. They'll start to make their way back over towards that right side portion of the mini-map. So far, so good. Here, things have gone quite smooth for Longhorn Gaming. In New Mexico, they've tried their might to be able to get in a P1, although it's very early inside of the game here. Potentially a telltale sign of how things are yet to go throughout the rest of this game, as it is Longhorns who have set themselves up over by P2.
They got 30 seconds off the clock and set themselves up well to make the rotation over towards this P2 and get themselves early time. So about 15 seconds of scrap time going the way of New Mexico, but they're already in and through the point, trying to get these players killed out of the back for New Mexico, but they get chopped down, and with early control is going to be Longhorn Gaming. Now these players have to work across the map. A fairly even spread, but players looking to have their eyes on Church and push through there. There's only 1 player holding for Longhorn, but expect that information to be relayed quickly, as right now they're just soaking up the time and already have a 40-point lead.
Saucy on 3 in a row, escapes with 6 HP, but still is able to find a kill on the opposite side of it. Velocity also on 4, so 2 players streaking now for the side of Longhorn, but as I say that, both of them will fall, and New Mexico find themselves breaking in towards that second point. So with 23 seconds left, we start thinking about rotations. You can obviously see all the white arrows from Longhorn Gaming already rotated on over. But he tries to get a bit twisted over towards that P3 site. However, Menace is going to be able to win that with an automaton at the longer ranges. So 10 seconds left to scrap time. You're going to be able to go ahead, rack the rest of that up. Now it's going to be a break for both of these 2 teams and a foot race back to the point.
Rocket, of course, on 2, but Solar on 3, having to work across the map. Is this player 1 and Mickey going to be able to play the cutoff and get the kill? That answer is going to be yes, so you avoid streaks for both players from the side of New Mexico, and you get early control of the P3. So, looking good. If you are Longhorn Gaming, Menace sitting on a 3 streak of his own, and on that back heady, could very well get streaks here if New Mexico aren't able to find an answer. In firm control now, and the hit trying to come in from the top side, but players starting to fall.
Laying down, waiting for New Mexico to push up the map. The Lobos, they found some success here and there, but it hasn't been constant success that you'd like to see out of them here in map number 1. Menace, though, 6 in a row, will find themselves strafing run for the time being. Can use that a little bit later on, have that in the back pocket, use it as a keep safe maybe over towards the bottom of this map, but as Solar finds 2 and Domers is able to have another tacked on to the end of that, it is going to be New Mexico trying to go ahead and set themselves up inside the bottom of the church. Domers there. From behind, though, Velocity and Saucy are going to pair for 2. You look to the middle of the map, it's Menace who's there, looking for the player jumping down from the top of the church. So, saving grace here thus far for Longhorn Gaming has been the slaying department. If you're New Mexico, well, that's exactly what you need to go ahead and turn around.
They're getting decent positioning on the map. Again, you could tighten up a couple of those rotations and grant yourself an advantage in slaying, but like you said, if you can find a couple more kills, put yourself in a better position, as they're going to clear out this P4 and get the break with about 30 seconds left. So this game's still not out of reach, of course. Looking to close the gap. That's about 40 or 50 points. Rest of the scrap time is not going to go uncontested, as these Longhorn players are going to try to run around and get to it, but they're going to be there on the rotation to P5. When you have a lead like that and you don't need the scrap time this early on, you can afford to send more resources on the rotation, and that's exactly what they do. So Longhorn just playing very aware of what they need to do on the map. Rocket going to get a stab in the back and work his way through the mid-map and try to cause something to happen, but these players for Longhorn, they're in control early. Hits coming in from Platt.
I mean, if you're trying to play through the back line, I guess it's kind of silent for a little bit of time. No matter, though, Domers will clean 2 up. Maddie is there as well. So as New Mexico have found themselves broken in towards point number 5, we'll find ourselves back over to P1 here in just about 45 seconds. But before that happens, we have to go through the onslaught of nades and stuns that is this point number 5 hill. And as New Mexico are just going to be sitting in and around the hill, just waiting in different corners. Saucy now in the Longhorn Gaming roster are going to try to break themselves right on in. Velocity, some nice shots with the automaton. Won't be able to find the player, but the reinforcements are going to be close enough. Should be the last 25 seconds of the side of Longhorn Gaming.
They get the time, but New Mexico looking ahead at the rotation, but player 3 Menace slipped through and is now in control of this fountain here on P1, and the player peaks U. It's been a white kill feed for a second as the rest of the kill feed goes their way up 30 points as we get back to P1, and they got most of this P1 the last time around, so they could really blow this game open here on this next set of hills if New Mexico can't find a way to get kills going and get an answer. And right now, Saucy, feeling saucy, and New Mexico spawn having his way.
Oh, aggressive challenge there. You got to realize you're on 5 in a row. Try to play for potential streaks down the line, specifically since you're that close to not only earning strafe run, but a glide bomb would be oh so impactful going towards the later portions of this game. Either way, though, Dahmer's 2 in a row. Rocky's going to be able to find 1. That's going to be all 4 down on the side of Longhorn Gaming, at least at the point. So within the first about 25 seconds, New Mexico was able to break on in. The Lobos have found themselves a nice bit of hardpoint time. Biggest question mark is, will Rocky be able to find himself in the backlines, be able to go for a couple of kills? You're going to be able to find the first. Velocity, the second up to challenge. Around the corner, you're on 3 in a row. Here he comes. Menace, though, will knock him down with the automaton.
That play was critical, though, because it allowed the rest of the New Mexico players to get rotation over to P2, so already an improvement from what we've seen this first go around. Now you have to hold off. You can't let these players in church pick you off. You've got to have the awareness to play spawns, and just like that, Velocity's going to get picked. These players have big gunfights to win the back as Longhorn are going to be able to walk into the hill from the front, and just like that, they break in early and instantly flip out this New Mexico team. So yeah, they may have got the rotation, but you get slayed out immediately, and like you said, that's where they need to make the improvement. That's where this game has been very landslide and lopsided.
Cash, the thing is, if you're New Mexico and the Lobos, the biggest problem is you've come very, very close to being able to not only tack on a couple more points to tie the game up against the Longhorns, but more importantly, take the lead at several portions. Ever since about, I'd say maybe the end of P4 on the first set of rotations, nothing's looked back. Longhorn Gaming have absolutely run away with this game. They're about to be up by not only 100 points, but they've eclipsed that 200-point mark just now. And with the last bit of scrap time here, you're only going to need about 40 seconds of time in order to rotate back on over and win this game. So if you're New Mexico, yeah, it's got to be flawless, but it's looking like a Longhorn Gaming win here for map number 1.
It is looking like that as one player is going to fall. Make that not quite 2. Again, it's just the break that the Longhorn's able to have so quickly. They're able to get roof, get the clearance out of the back, and now Mickey's on that heady where you have control of the hill if you're New Mexico. You don't have the positioning that you need to be able to hold this off for long, so it's just a matter of can these Longhorn players find the kill, and it's still enough time to have to make a rotation. You've done your job, but again, you have to do just that. You have to rotate, and you have to keep getting hill time, so they've got to try to keep Longhorn off of this as long as they can and win around the map, something they've been unable to do. And like you said, it's just a matter of time, but this should be Longhorn's first map.
It's a good break from the front, at least at the very beginning. Well, when the Longhorns were able to spawn back up, all was really said and done. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's just disrespectful. Well, that is absolutely disrespectful. I never want to see that ever again. That's considered manslaughter in 63 different countries.
Little look over the shoulder action, and New Mexico, they find themselves again in control of P4, and rotations haven't really been the problem. It's just when Longhorns want to get in, they just kind of waltz in and take the hill. Maddie trying to hold people off here. Not going to happen. Now there's going to be a Pens working in front and backside church. One player left to hold on, and with just 20 seconds needed, New Mexico, it's scramble time, and it's time to throw lives at the hill.
Just 15 seconds now. New Mexico will break on in. The Longhorns are still there. Menace on 4 in a row. Fortunately enough, Maddie's going to be able to pop for 3 quick kills. Velocity inside. Now Solar with the pistol will bounce back with a couple of kills. Again, Cash, the biggest problem is, 10 seconds, you're on the rotation. If you're New Mexico, this hill was kind of your saving grace last time. This is where you're able to get the majority of your points. So a comeback could absolutely start here. Fortunately, everybody's dead.
Yeah, you needed to get the chance to start, of course, but Menace holding down the trigger, now these players cross door, and here come the barrage of grenades and attacks. They still hold on and are in control with 10 seconds left. And no player spawned up very close to the hill. You know you can just slay out here and get this one done. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to get in for a contest. And they hold on by a near 100-point margin. Like you said, New Mexico at times had opportunities to not only close the deficit, but even take the lead at times. Just, I think the kills were so slow that entire game that they couldn't find footing. They found themselves in position to win rotations and have the hold of hills early, but whenever someone like Velocities, who was 30 and 20 to end this one of the top of three piece, he was able to. They just didn't have any answer for the kills that were coming through, so that's something we'll have to see if they look to turn up here as the series progresses. But if you're Longhorn Gaming, yeah, your rotations could have been a little sloppy there at the end, but you relied on the kills and they got it done for you in that one. So you take that one 250 to 164 to kick things off.
Well, no question where the slaying lied. It was all for the side of Longhorn Gaming. Nobody positive on the side of University of New Mexico Esports roster. And that's very, very, very much a telltale sign of how a hardpoint is going to go. 30 and 20 game high there from Velocity. Led the way with 1:29 in the hill as well. 26 and 19 from Saucy. A close second place there to teammate in Velocity. But the Double M duo, fortunately, is going to be doing just enough in order to get things done for Longhorn Gaming. So we'll start talking about our Search and Destroy coming up next. For the University of New Mexico, again, this is kind of their saving grace. This is the mode that they need to be able to take in order to not, maybe get 3-0'd in a series, especially with how good Longhorns have been inside of not only Respawn, but Control specifically.
Definitely, and you look at a map like Desert Siege, and you get into that University, that mid-map area, and you can have just as frequent and crazy gunfights as you do. It can feel like a Respawn, depending on how teams opt to stack those opening rounds. It can get really crazy, and so Longhorns, where their slaying is hot, they are probably going to look to have aggression and a lot of mid-map presence going into map number 2 where they can. New Mexico have to find a way to bounce back, and even looking at the respawns, you looked at the players for the side of Longhorn, a couple of them having all of their kills but a handful that were not traded. That's not going to fly in Search and Destroy if you want to find a win. Again, This is New Mexico's stronger mode. Of course, you're going to expect them to come out and make those adjustments, but you definitely need to find a way to get traded and make sure you do that. That's one of the fundamentals of S&D, and look to see New Mexico definitely have an answer for that.
I mean, you talk about fundamentals of Search and Destroy. I'll talk about the fundamentals of Hardpoint. You're not winning a game unless you're outslaying your opponent, or at least the majority of time. That's not going to be the case. So for New Mexico, obviously, there could be a multitude of reasons or excuses that you can have for a low performance in map number 1. Although you can't really take anything away from this out of Longhorn Gaming. They had a really stunning map number 1 performance. They came out of the gate swinging, and if it was New Mexico's side maybe just coming out a bit slower, that's on them to come back in the Search and Destroy, step things up in a mode that we know that they can consistently win in overall. So we'll take a look at our maps here in just a moment, but if you are the side of Longhorn Gaming overall, I'm feeling confident not only about this series. I think, though, if you take this S&D here, Cash, I'd have to agree with you. I think this series is over.
Yeah, when you look to that Control, they're not looking at it as a momentum shift or a swing back in the series. I think they're looking at that one as a closeout mode. They want to get to 3 and be done. And again, just how dominantly that first map was won, how again hot all players were firing, some more than others. This Desert Siege could get dangerous quick. If you're New Mexico, you gotta, of course you'd love to go out and win in a 6-0 fashion, but you've got to keep these rounds close. You can't let them get a lead like they did in the hard point, to where even if you find footing and find traction, it could be too late to bring it back. So in S&D, I definitely want to see them go round for round, make those mid-game adjustments that will help them find success. Again, this is their superior mode, and it's only one map that they've lost, but just in the fashion that they did, and knowing that, again, how good this Longhorn team is in response and Control, this S&D must win, period. I can't frame it up much better than that.
It sucks when you have to kind of constitute a map number 2 as a must-win for a team, but when it comes down to having to play against a very good Longhorn Gaming roster, that's exactly what it's going to take. And again, I know I harked on this at the very beginning of the top of the show for the series, but the thing is when you're playing in a top cut match and everything's on the line week in and week out, you can't afford to have bad performances and bad series against good teams. So overall, as we continue to go forward in this side of the series, I think it's very telling how good Longhorn Gaming can and will be going straight on. But if New Mexico can come out with great adjustments, be able to take the Search and Destroy, I think that's going to bode well for themselves.
It will, and we see the first blood go the way of Longhorn, but that is eventually traded out. Bomb not going to go down. It is going to fall, though, on that B site. Player's able to get the kill there, so a 2v2 situation, and gotta find a way to get this bomb regrouped and replanted. Players just working on the map for information. If you're side of Longhorn, you're playing split, and if you're New Mexico, you're stacked, so we'll see how this opts to play for either squad. Now 45 seconds left to get the bomb down, and these players are stacked on top of each other. They're not trying to force a mistake.
Velocity knows where those last two players are. Gonna have to be an ace here for Velocity. If you want to win round number 1, Dahmer's gonna be across the map. Bomb is down on the B site, though. So if you're Velocity, you just gotta wait. Just gotta wait for Dahmer's to make your way all the way on back over. Jumps back up. Bomb should be able to go down here towards B. Dahmer's towards the top. Oh, he actually wrapped all the way over towards A, but you're gonna get the information that's going back over towards that B site.
And has to have an idea that Velocity's playing out in these dunes, but with an MP42 and automaton battle
Did
at
you see him?
range, he does get the intel, but the lack of trigger discipline may cost him. Stun's gonna come out. Gonna try to wrap around and get the juke. Unable to do it. Velocity gets the snap through the stun. Able to take that round for Longhorn Gaming, and where you needed the ace, you got it, and you take the offensive round. So the snap there for Velocity to win that one.
Well, it's one way to kick off a search and destroy.
For sure.
One hell of a way to get things going for yourself specifically. But for Longhorns, it was a nice round win. You get that first blood. Gets a little bit shaky. It was a 2 versus 3. And of course, Velocity, quite literally by himself, was able to get things even back out. And then a 1 versus 2 there, the 1-on-1 finally against Dahmer's all the way at the end. Makes things a bit easier for Longhorn Gaming. Now you can take a long-range angle once again. Almost is able to get the kill there. Peppers the player up all the way back. Would have boded well, great for streaks. Would have been 5 already off the rip here instead of the game. However, though, on the offensive side, New Mexico going to be able to work their way over towards that B site. But guess who? It's Velocity, who's now on 5 in a row with the 5th kill in the round. Mickey over the top with a grenade, and Saucy almost is able to find Dahmer's inside of the window. They know the last 2 players are all the way in the back left portion of the map.
It's just hard because not only do you have to try and stay alive and win these gunfights, but you're really just trying to milk that clock. So Matty did his job in getting the bomb planted, but when players are falling all around, you don't give yourself a chance to get into any kind of post-plant setup or put yourself in a position to milk the clock. Their position was found out quickly. They were taken down, and Longhorn, they win 2 straight. So again, for New Mexico, just like in the hard point, you can't let them get out to a lead. 2 rounds isn't substantial by any means yet, but if they happen to take this next round, I mean, that, again, could bode trouble. I know it sounds so early and it might sound dramatic, but when you're in this top cut and you're really fighting for a position to get into the top 8 and secure yourself a spot in playoffs, it's something that you don't want to take lightly. In Longhorn Gaming, they're definitely focused and dialed in about this one.
Another defensive round. This is where New Mexico can make your adjustments. See what Longhorn Gaming did the last round. Unfortunately, still another first blood that comes in the way of the Longhorn Gaming side of things. Back and forth, pinstripe kill feed. 2 versus 2. Menace on 3 in a row. Velocity will finally find himself dead for the first time inside of the game. As that bomb goes down over at that A site, we're going to have 45 seconds left here for a retake. You see those red arrows making their way around. Player number 2 in Menace might be able to get some good timing all the way in the back here, but Rocky with the pistol is going to be able to find the first. Now it's Mickey alive in a 1 versus 2 with 30 seconds left. You're actually behind these last couple of players, but somehow, some way, Rocky's actually going to turn around and find him. Mickey around the corner, another clutch up for Longhorn Gaming in a 1 versus 2.
It just feels like the pacing and the momentum are still picking up where they left off in that hard point. They just look effortless around the map. Even in a 1v2, it felt like they had the advantage somehow. Just the energy and just what you can see of this team. They look very comfortable, not only playing as a squad, but just in between modes. They just look really fluid and good. So like you said, Velocity falling for the first time that round, but where he falls, his teammates are able to clutch up and pick up, now find themselves up 3-0.
Velocity looking to pick back up in this round where he left off. Matty with a bomb. Worked over towards that B site. Velocity just going to be able to sprint across. Doesn't know that the player is going to be on that B site. However, is going to be able to slide in for the challenge. Saucy was able to get one across the map. There's going to be 3 quick kills instantaneously here in the round. And now you're just looking for Rocky. Trying to play spoiler on a clutch situation beforehand. However, it's just Saucy sprinting directly behind the player. Longhorn Gaming have made Desert Siege their playground. A 4-0 lead here early on. They go back to another round, looking to go ahead and put things at match point.
They're doing a great job at applying constant pressure to this New Mexico squad. Where New Mexico wants to look to make adjustments in the rounds, they're not giving them the chance to because they're walking out on top in the first blood exchange. Even if it's traded out initially, they still find themselves, when the dust settles, up 3-2 in life counter, even with the bomb down, just find themselves in the favorable situation. So New Mexico aren't even getting the chance to make an adjustment, and it's showing in the scoreline. Up 4-0 and having their way, especially here in the mid-map, as we see Saucy finally go down and the kills go the way of New Mexico. it's something where, okay, that's the adjustment you need to make if you're New Mexico. You got to start simple. Got to start with just getting kills on the board, as Dahmers is going to win the gunfight mid-map, but lose to the window there at the back of the building and finally get some information related to the team.
Lost to window. You know, the thing is this was a nice passive round from New Mexico. You just hold your angles. You didn't let yourselves get too aggressive up on the map. You let the Longhorns come to you. You're able to take them off the map respectively in that same sequence. Velocity, though, we'll be able to get... Okay. Okay, dude. Let's stop. Let's make sure we can win this round here. Okay, now Mickey's on 5 in a row, trying to tag what Velocity had going beforehand. And also, by the way, Velocity's trying to streak yet again. And now Mickey spots the player all the way out and towards the back. Sure, you're going to be able to escape here for the time being. You don't know where that second player is. Mickey, 6 in a row. Now the streaks, and you spot out the last player. That was an aggressive challenge and a half. Now you're just going to sprint after the player. Why not?
Why not?
Don't do it, please.
Little do-si-do. Going down, I make. Oh man.
Okay.
I was like, go for something there, but nothing quite. So yeah, you have a toss away round or two, and that's what Longhorns look to take. You lose the battle to win the war is what they're thinking here. So you're gonna switch sides. Mickey on 6, one more kill will forge the glide bomb, and that could really put this series. And this map specifically out of reach for this New Mexico squad. But maybe, hey, you get one round on the board and that can be a little life in you. Like you said, they slowed that one down and were able to win the round there. And we'll see if they force the aggression out of Longhorn Gaming here to start. And, well, that looks to be the case early.
Saucy going to slide up around the corner. You know, if I'm Saucy there, I would have loved to see him just maybe back off, play that a little bit more passive. You know, although you're getting these first bloods, you have things to work with. Fortunately enough, you have teammates who are going to be confident enough to be able to find themselves a few kills around the map, trade things back out. But maybe just not sprinting into 3 different people is probably going to be the first start to a good offensive round. Either way, Solar making their way up the map. Menace was able to get a kill across the ways. So Solar is on a donut watch, trying to clutch up in a 1 versus 2.
Like how you mentioned how Saucy, you know, what you would have liked to see him do there. And I think maybe that's just testing, okay, is New Mexico really going to sit back in their spawn and wait? You know, you have the rounds to throw away, so maybe you just, you know, do a little heat check, a little ego chow, see if they're actually going to opt to play slow and then look to make the adjustment off of that. But Asshole is able to get the bomb and get it planted. It's going to be a retake over at this A site. Cancel are getting a decent enough position to pick these players off in time. Decent setup for now as these players have to hunt him down, but again, on Donut Watch, you'd like to be able to find a kill here. Not only that, but clutch up the round, and Menace might have an idea of where he's chilling.
Such a weird angle to play. Menace actually is just going to sprint straight past, but Solar didn't even spot Menace because he's licking bricks. Vicky finds the kill on the Solar. Round going to be 1 for Longhorn Gaming. They'll put themselves up at match point. And the Donut Watch continues here.
All I got's unlucky.
Oh, boy.
That's all I got for you. Oh, man. Yeah, it's just, you gotta head on a swivel, you know? You gotta be able to know if someone's running past you. Unfortunately, Solar's not able to. Longhorn Gaming, they find themselves at match point, even in situations where they might, you know, find themselves in unfavorable spots. I mean, yeah, 2v1, you technically have the advantage, but with bomb down, you still have to make a play happen. They found themselves coming out on top all rounds but 1, now at match point to go up 2-0 in the series. Mickey sitting at 7-1 with full streaks, and not even sure if you'll need them. We'll see how this round shakes down, but for now, the first blood's going to go even.
I was going to say, you have information that the bomb was at least trying to work its way out over towards B. Catch a player off guard. You can maybe find him with the glide bomb, and here it comes over the top. Saucy, Velocity. They're able to go ahead and find 2. Can the glide bomb find the final kill? The answer is no, but you have plenty of information on where this player is going to be from. Bomb down over towards that B zone. Roque left in a 1 versus 3. Another 1v odd situation from New Mexico, but specifically for Roque. Tries to slide down the staircase, but a 6-1 search and destroy win is going to be good enough to put the Longhorns up 2-0 inside of the series. New Mexico, the Lobos, they haven't looked all that great thus far. They're going to have to turn it around and control which, well, just so happens to be the Longhorns' best game mode thus far.
I was about to ask, what do you do when you come into your best mode that you've only dropped 2 of the entire season thus far and get beat 6-1? Like, where do you find your answer at this point? Is it gonna have to be like true grit and resilience? You're gonna have to go and beat Longhorn Gaming on their best mode and on the favored map. So, you know, peculiar situation you find yourself in New Mexico. You kind of got slapped around a little bit in your own favored mode. You've got to try to do the same back. Really, you have no choice at this point if you want to keep your series alive. But yeah, definitely a disappointing S&D from the side of New Mexico.
You know, I hate to do this, but I love to do this at the same time.
I
It's
know
older.
it's
This is
coming.
nothing
I know
against
it's
you.
coming.
But I've got to indict you into the agency, my friend. It's a ritualistic thing in Call of Duty. There's so many memories and so many moments that we can get, especially when we look at a map like Desert Siege. But from licking bricks to opening up a donut shop, I have to say, congratulations. Welcome to the agency. It's great to have you here. I've had my fair share of donuts in my time, so hopefully you can whip me up a tasty one when we get done with this. But either way, jokes aside. Cash, a 2-0 lead for the Longhorns, an S&D win that was a 6-1 victory. You go into a control here now on Tuscan. Is this where we see the ending of the series, or is this where the Lobos get new life and find their way to stretch this out forward into the abyss? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I think this one might be over. Just New Mexico, they haven't been able to get any footing across the 2 modes we've seen thus far, and now you're going to go into a mode that is Longhorn's best, right? The S&D, that was your favored mode. You were supposed to take that one. You lose it in a devastating fashion. I think all of the momentum and everything is to the side of Longhorn Gaming, and again, they want to come out and show, yeah, we're in the top cut, yeah, we're playing against teams that are about as evenly matched as can be. I think Longhorn Gaming are coming out here and they want to make a statement saying, like, we're going to be the ones to show separation first, and based on how they're handling this series, that looks to be the case.
Longhorn Gaming looking to not only put an exclamation mark on this series, but kind of put themselves in a situation where other teams are going to have to look out for them inside of their own top cut. Either way, we're going to take a quick break. We'll step aside when we come back. Tuscan control, a potential conclusion to this series, and of course, a Longhorn Gaming roster that's going to continue to be blazing hot. The Longhorns have been making quick work of the Lobos here thus far inside of the series, but this is the turning point where things can go ahead and swing back inside of New Mexico's favor. All they got to do is take the best game mode off of Longhorn Gaming and then force a map number 4. I know, it sounds treacherous, it sounds difficult. Either way, a Tuscan control is coming up. My name is McCormiel, with me is Cash, and of course you're watching CCL week number 7. This is stage 2. Yes, stage 2. We're finally in the second stage of the CCL season, and we can really start getting a clear gauge on the playoff picture. Overall, this is for a playoff spot. Well, not necessarily a playoff spot, but at least trying to get towards a playoff spot, I should say. Longhorn Gaming will open things up with 3 quick kills off the bat, and that's kind of what we've been expecting and seeing the entirety of the series.
New Mexico tried to go for a quick hit B, and it was quickly shut down, so now have to rework it, get back up to that ace site, and they are able to have some semblance of control. It's going to be Roque in the back, trying to make things mixy and get these players killed. Through this backside church area, is able to find 2 successful kills, but on the other side, players are getting cut down off of spawn. They still find themselves on the point, securing some of the ticks. About to hit 2 if player can stay alive. Solar does. Officially playing better than the S&D with a kill on the board, and now things can only look up for New Mexico as they're almost at that 3rd tick of progression, unable to find it. Some gunfight's going to have to go down here to win, but Longhorn, they walk out on top.
2 from Saucy, almost makes it a 3rd. Still a 2-life advantage for Longhorn Gaming. You've gone ahead and held yourselves nicely on a defensive side here if you are Longhorns. 48 seconds left overall on the actual clock itself. Roque around the corner, paired with Solar. Gonna be able to push on through on the map. 3 kills for the Lobos. Trying to get this game in their sole possession. However, now you got to get over towards that B zone. Minute 45 to work with. A 1-life advantage overall, which really doesn't seem like all that much because it isn't. As they start to make their way on up, first couple of gunfights should go in the way of Longhorn Gaming. At least the first one will. They're going to get onto the point, stop the timer for just a moment. But as Mickey and Menace pair once again, disaster strikes for the Lobos.
Kills are exactly even as everyone has even stat lines here, it's more so the time that's been coming into effect where players just, even on the offense or defensive side, just can't find the time to get these kills and get players, and needing a clean forward to be able to get onto the hill, especially one tucked away here at this B site, is also critical for New Mexico. And they've just been unable to find the kills as players for Longhorn Gaming are just in the right position to cut players down and not let them get on this. So with about 50 seconds left, you're only going to have a couple more hits if you are New Mexico, and that's if these players can stay up and still cause problems here around this site. So as these players look to work through Church, they're going to get dropped on the B site, and now basically back to square one.
Rocky had stayed up, I think, for a good minute in the back spawn.
Yeah.
Of Longhorn Gaming. They finally were able to clear it out. But the damage has been done. 3 life advantage to the Lobos. 30 seconds left, though, to get back to the point. We saw on Cthulhu in our last series how difficult it can be even when you get down towards the ending of time, even when you have the life advantage. From behind, Saucy tries to turn around the corner. Maddie, Dahmers, and Roque will go ahead and find themselves 3 quick kills. You try to get into the spawn site, and you finally do. 4 in a row. You get cut down from behind. You've got to touch the point, and you've only got 2 players there. It's a 2 versus 2, at least at the point for now. Reinforcements from both teams going to be showing up surely soon. And of course, now you fly into the point. You stop the time for a bit, but it's Velocity with a headshot over the top. Mickey will find the second. Time will tick to 0, and the Longhorns will win a defense to start things out on here. Touchskin control.
Got the kills that they needed to. If there's anyone I want on a heady looking over that side, it's going to be Velocity. He has been on fire the entire series, and no different here to kick things off on Control. They're going to find themselves up 1-0 early. Now on the offensive side, can they get one of their own? We will find out. Or can New Mexico make a stand and have a hold here and respond with a defense of their own? Tuscan's one that opts for a little more ease on offense to win rounds compared to Gavitu, but it's still challenging nonetheless. So balls in New Mexico's court. Can they answer with a big round, or do they let Longhorn get early time? It's going the way of Longhorn here to start as we see a 2-stack on the hill.
Trying to make your way on forward through the middle of the map if you are the defensive side of the Lobos. Mickey, though, will slide around the left side. A 4-1 trade allows them to go ahead and get that second bit of progress. You got 2 players stacking the point, and now player number 7 and Menace will start making their way over towards the spawn side. Off-screen engagement will go the way of Solar, and New Mexico will hold on to the majority of the map presence for now. However, as I say that, Mickey will turn around and find Rocky at the top of the church, looking to find that last bit of progress on that A site. Trying for a contest is Dahmers. Nobody else is going to be there. A site going to be good. Minute added to the clock. 2:11 to go with a 3 life advantage as you go ahead and fight your way towards that B site.
Saucy zipping around Church, able to get a kill there, but 2 players looking to hit this P5 plat side. Gonna find the kill there as well, so even though Saucy falls, there is the opportunity still for a pinch as player 7 and Menace is able to cut this player down back tank and try to work through Church, keep these players' eyes averted away from the B point as players are going to try to hop on and make something happen. Velocity gets through L, is able to try and find one, but with the soar over the top, enough to allow for the trade to come in. Nothing on this hill thus far. Players up and alive. Can they stay alive and get the kills needed? That's going to be Menace's job, and that's going to be super critical here if they want to get this point.
13-6. Roque around the corner. Shuts the door on the first player from the Longhorn Gaming roster. Trying to make your way up through the middle of the map, but more importantly, on that north portion. Maybe work your way into the spawn side. New Mexico. They're holding down P5 right now. Saucy will be up and towards the top. You look to radio for the second player who's going to be making the challenge. You're going to be able to win that gunfight oh so handedly. Mickey now making the way up. Looks to the tank on the back left side. Nade going to be out. Should weaken up the player. Difficult gunfight to win, but you're going to be able to take off the head at the same time. 13-10 in terms of lives. 50 seconds left. You got a couple of good pushes here. If you are Longhorn Gaming, the biggest problem is you don't want to fight when you're down lives.
New Mexico have kept the life count relatively even here, though they lost that 8 point early with over 2 minutes left on the clock. They have battled very well and held their positioning to keep this Longhorn Gaming roster out of here. But here comes another hit through plat and through this green area. Again, just can you find the kills and get the stack that you need, or do New Mexico hold on? You have 7 lives left. You just got to get the kills at the right time to allow for no one to get on the point. They're doing that right now. It's only 1 player up and the rest falling. You're looking good if you're New Mexico, and now really no time left for anything other than hopping on the point if you are Longhorn.
Somehow Menace was able to stay alive there. You look back over towards the top. That's going to be 2 kills now for Longhorn Gaming. If you get onto the point, you're going to try and stop the time here at least for a little bit, going all the way back out into spawn. But you still have another player that's playing on the point. 6-3 in terms of the lives. Menace is going to be there around the left side corner. Menace goes for another one. 4 in a row. Turns back around. Menace goes for everybody. Take him off the map. That guy's just better. Simply put, that guy's just better. He's better than your entire team.
Didn't even need the point. Hopped on it, got the clock stopped. Teammate got on, said, all right, I'm going to go do my thing. Does just that on a 5 streak. And now up 2-0, not only at match point, but series point. Could have just drained the last bit of life out of New Mexico. You make a good hold for that round, but then you let Menace go on a tear there at the end to secure the win. So, again, this Longhorn Gaming squad playing very well. We've seen different players throughout the series step up and get the job done. A very well-rounded roster, and like you said, with a lot to prove coming into tonight. I think they're proving it.
Was looking to continue the streak, maybe a bit too aggressive pushing on forward. Saucy hipfire shots will eventually turn into an ADS kill. First bit of progress over towards A has been earned. Longhorn Gaming 1 round away from taking the control in the series as well. Velocity looking to go ahead, put the final nails in the coffin in the way of bullets to the forehead. Domers, though, has worked their way over towards the B site. New Mexico, going to try and find some reinforcements. Biggest problem, though, nobody was there to push anything. You were just trying to stall the clock as your teammates were going over towards A. The best you could do there was just try to split the point on offense. Unfortunately, it comes and walks away with Longhorn Gaming being able to hold you back on both points.
Out of New Mexico, I'd like to see a collective 4 hit towards 1 point. We do see all 4 players here for a brief moment before they are taken down, but kind of staggered pushes from the squad here. They are going to be able to get this last tick of progression. No one quite going to challenge and try to stop that. Maybe once more as Velocity takes that longer range gunfight, they do get the clearance before that point is captured. So what you thought might have been secured for you through New Mexico and looking towards B gets shut down and snuffed out. So again, you have to work out of your spawn against a team that's shooting a little too straight to compete with. They are just ripping everyone off the positions that they're in. So got to find a way to still get this last tick of progression. With 30 seconds left and down 6 lives, not looking too good.
Got to get the tick of progression, got to get the B side. I mean, how many times in control is the same story going to be told? Longhorn Gaming up 4 lives. You're looking for the last couple of kills. Sure, you get the A site, but now you got to get back over towards B, which is a very daunting task. I'm not going to say it's not possible, because it is very possible, but with Mickey, who's on a 5 spree, trying to do exactly what the Tandem and Menace did, the Double M duo here for the side of Longhorn Gaming has been doing it all throughout the entirety of the series. Pushing into the spawn side. You really haven't even needed to use a streak and or had any opportunities to do so. You look to Rock A, who's sitting towards the middle of the map. You're going to pepper them up, back off. You see the top middle window. You know basically where everybody from the side of New Mexico is. 50 seconds left to Longhorn. They're trying to put this game away.
And that they'll look to be able to do. They have a very nice spread across the map. They're going to find the 2 that try to come through mid-map and church. That's going to back Rock A up and just have to wait for reinforcements. You just can't throw one-off life at this because you're unfortunately not winning your ones. You have to wait for more teammates to be able to double chow these players in church. And right now they're just dancing around and killing time. Mickey just putting on a clinic here, especially with the movement. And these players are just pinned in church, not even able to get out. You just can't find the kills you need to get over to this B site. So with 15 seconds left, you've got to get full clearance and get across the map. And Menace is going to pop 2, and I just think that's the icing on the cake with the pistol for the 3rd. That should all but do it here. And that it will. Longhorn Gaming in very dominant fashion take the series.
Well, Menace, you can go ahead and knock your name off the top. Etch it into the map because that was your game to win. You go ahead and get it done. So, Longhorn Gaming, a 3-0 win over New Mexico. That is not at all how I thought this series was going to go.
No.
But I will say this, Cash. This Longhorn roster, this is slowly becoming one of my favorite teams to watch inside of the CCL. Week over week, they have looked so much better, and it's really weird, but they're just fun. They play with aggression, they play fast-paced, they play together, and that's the most important thing. Boom. They're able to win series like that against teams who are at their competition or even higher. Sign me up to watch this team for the rest of the year.
Yeah, this is, like you said, entertaining. It was just a fun series to watch from this squad. I mean, all 4 players did their own thing at some point in the series. It wasn't some lopsided thing, and that's the testament of a good team when you can, like you said, win against squads that are at your skill level and win in that dominant of a fashion. Okay, you guys are doing something right. And for me, what stands out with this squad is it is a 4-man effort. There is no one who's having to backpack or carry and do more than what their load requires. So that's what makes them so entertaining, is they play so well off of each other and what's needed on the map. And yeah, it was a good series for them to win. They took it in 3-0 fashion and set themselves up as a team to look out for as we start to progress to stage 2.
Well, we'll take a look at our maps one more time here for the entirety of this series. Map number 1, again, it was a relatively close game. I want to say New Mexico had kind of flashes and glimpses of brilliance throughout that game, but when it was all said and done, Longhorn Gaming were able to basically win it by about 100 points. It was about 250 to 163, I think, was the final score, somewhere around there. Yeah. Then, of course, the search and destroy for Longhorn Gaming, they just never looked back after the first couple of rounds. It just went in their favor. Very, very quick work, a 6-1 win there instead of the S&D. Then we go to the control, a 3-0 win. It was a dominant series. That's really all I can say. Cash, any thoughts before we go ahead and sign off for the night?
Like you said, of course, you can look at it and say, wow, New Mexico has so much to work on, but I think more so what's important to highlight is how well Longhorn came out and played that series. Again, we keep stressing on that we're playing with teams that are in similar skill levels, so it's that much more impressive to go out and win in as dominant of a fashion as they did. So yeah, New Mexico, you've got work to do, always room to improve, but this Longhorn Gaming squad, like you said, quickly becoming a favorite and just showing a ceiling that is just unreachable at this point. They just seem like they have such a high ceiling that they can strive for, and they're looking to do that. So a fun series and a good one for them to come out and show this dominance early. But yeah, like you said, one where this is going to be an interesting squad to watch and follow as we go along.
Absolutely. Well, I will say this, Cash. New Mexico, one series isn't going to put you down. You're going to be able to push forward time and time again, and more importantly than anything else, I think this New Mexico squad has a lot left in the tank and a lot to surprise people with. So a loss against Longhorn Gaming, might not be the best eyesore when it comes to a multitude of losses, but at the same time, I think this is going to be a good kicker to really start not only kickstarting the journey back to the top, but more importantly, being able to find out what went wrong and how we can fix that going forward. Either way, that's going to do it here for us on the Bravo stream. The Alpha stream's still going on, so we're going to send you there, but you're going to go there yourself because you want to watch more Call of Duty in the collegiate level. And it's 2 really good teams going. It's the number 7 versus the number 9 team right now. So that's all I'm going to say. Go watch the rest of that series. We're going to sign off here for the rest of the night. My name is McCormiel. With me was Cash. Thank you to everybody who's come out and supported the Bravo stream and, of course, the CCL in tow. Thank you to everybody on the production side of things who makes this possible and allows you to have the most fluid and enjoyable experience while watching the collegiate Call of Duty League. Either way, we'll see you tomorrow here on the Bravo stream for even more CCL action. But again, go to the Alpha stream at twitch.tv/collegecod. We'll see you there. We'll watch the matches together.